All right, everyone. Welcome to our August Spotlight series. We are going to go ahead and get started. We have a really awesome presentation for you guys today. We are welcoming Love of Learning, which is a local Richmond organization. If you all are new to this Spotlight series, we are doing little Zoom presentations on different organizations within the Richmond community who are making a difference, as well as highlighting some ways that you can get involved. There are a ton of different organizations, so it's always nice to be made aware of all the great things that people in our community are doing. Also, if you all haven't met me, my name is Ashlyn Royer. I'm the UVA Club of Richmond's Cab Care Coordinator. We host a ton of different social and volunteering events for our members. So if you aren't already a part of the club and have a connection to UVA, we would love to have you as a member. All right, so today we're hearing from Christin White. She is a co-founder of Love of Learning. Love of Learning hosts read-alongs and donates high-quality children's books to children living in lower-income homes in Central Virginia. I'm going to let Christin talk about the history of Love of Learning, literacy in Virginia, and how their organization makes the community a better place, in addition to how you all can get involved. So without further ado, please help me welcome Christin. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is a really unique opportunity. So I am so glad to be here on behalf of our team. All right, so we are Love of Learning. We are a 501c3 nonprofit here in the Central Virginia area. And our slogan is empowering children one book at a time. So we're really looking to just make sure that kids love books and love to read. Our mission is to empower children through literacy initiatives for children from low-income families. So really just finding different ways, again, like I said, to get kids excited about reading and provide them with opportunities to have books that they typically wouldn't have. So a little bit about us. We were founded in 2017 by a need to combat the literacy crisis in RVA. And this statistic is the one that I share the most, I think, with everybody that I meet and share our mission with. 61% of kids from low-income families live with 0 books in their home. And so I have to say, we are a big team of teachers, but also community members here at Love of Learning. And so I think that that was the #1 statistic that stuck out to the majority of us. Being a teacher, it's hard to believe that a kid would have no books in their home. And so we just really found that this was a mission that we could come together and find a way to help solve. So we have 3 different ways that you can get involved. And I'll start with the first 2, which are kind of basic volunteer opportunities, both the flyer volunteer and the hosting a book drive. But then we also recruit volunteers to be our read aloud teachers. So I'll go into more in depth on that in just a moment. We partner with a lot of different community organizations. Our biggest partner is probably the Community Foundation of Richmond. They have a website called Hands on RVA, which is where we post all of our volunteer opportunities. Maybe some of you guys are familiar with that. So one of the things that we even allow for people who have like court-ordered community service, they can pass out flyers for us. So we just encourage them to go around different neighborhoods. They can put the flyers on a mailbox, kind of like this, leave them, on the door handles. And that's just, it's a very small flyer, like I think it's like 4 by 6. But it just gives that little blurb of what we're trying to do and hopefully drives people to our website to find out what more about us. So the other thing that our volunteers can do is host book drives. One of the important things that I have really stressed over the last probably year or two, we really do try to ask for brand new books. And when we first started in 2017, we kind of thought, man, books are expensive. We'll take whatever books we can get. So we started building this big book bank. But as we did that, and then we got into our sites and communities that we visit, we noticed that the children got more excited when they saw that this was a brand new book, that it didn't have somebody's name on it. It didn't come from the old library books. It didn't come from a school teacher. Like, it was a brand new book, and you could tell, and you could really see the difference in the excitement of that. The other reason that we ask for brand new books too is children's books are like always coming out and are new, and the newer books are extremely fascinating, but they also provide a lot of opportunity for children that we serve to see themselves in their books. So that's another reason for that. And we'll talk a little bit more with Ashlyn at the end about you all's mission, I guess, here. So the biggest program that we have is our Read Aloud program. And our volunteers go in teams of 4 or 5. They visit a site for 1 hour, usually based on a set schedule. Most of the times it's once or twice a month. While they're there, they're gonna read with the children. They provide a snack, and then they get a book selection. So you can see on the table there, we provide, Love of Learning provides big bins of books that are labeled by grade level, just depending on what the age ranges are for the children at each site. And we provide a t-shirt and a name tag and a lanyard. So really just making it, official that we're here and this is our mission and this is what we're doing. We really want our volunteers to buy in to what we have going on. With all of that said, we have paused our in-person reading to see what the Delta variant of the coronavirus is going to do once school starts. So we're hoping that by October we can get our volunteers back into our sites, but we don't want to put anybody, in danger, and we just want to see what that's going to look like once all these people start gathering again. So if you're interested in being a Read Aloud teacher volunteer, you can email me, and I have that at the end of the presentation, but I can also send that information to Ashlyn too, and she can share it with you guys. And then I would just put you on my contact list so that once we're ready, we would get the background check started, and then you would select which site that we currently have available would work for your schedule. All right, and pictures say 1,000 words, right? Look at the smiles. I just couldn't leave. There wasn't enough room on my other slides to not put all these pictures. So this little boy is absolutely the cutest. This is what drives me to volunteer for this organization. I am also a Read Aloud volunteer. I also am a Read Aloud volunteer trainer. And so this is just something that I'm super passionate about, and seeing all of these kids smile is absolutely amazing. So that is really all that I have to share with you guys. This is my email address. If you have questions or comments, or want to know, how else you could help us, or you have some other ideas that you want to share, feel free to contact me and let me know. But other than that, I am so happy to be here, and I will certainly answer any questions that you have, if you have any.
Christin, thank you so much for that awesome presentation. It's really great to hear more about Love of Learning. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to just speak out. Or I think there's like a raise your hand feature if you are super polite. But yeah, just feel free to ask away. And I have a couple questions too, but I want other people
Okay.
to have the opportunity first.
Hello, Christin.
Hi.
Hi, this
Hi.
is Gwen Perkins, and thank you for the presentation. I just had a quick question. I'm looking at my notes. In terms of the flyer volunteer, where are some of the areas for that? And then I have two questions, I guess. And then the second one, you said once we kind of receive more information about the safety for the restart for the Read Aloud program, you said that's in partnership with some agencies. So just had a couple questions there. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. The flyer volunteers, we are super volunteer oriented. So we try to make things as easy as we can for anybody who's willing to donate their time for free to us. So typically what we recommend is that the flyer volunteers go around even just the streets in their neighborhood and add those flyers to the mailbox flags or to the doorknobs. If you have a team of people, you could do, multiple different neighborhoods. So we're not extremely specific on that, but we just like to get our name out there and get our mission out, for everybody to be able to hear what amazing work we're doing. And then for our sites, are you wondering like where our sites would be?
Yes, just curious, in the past, where have the sites been located, and what are you thinking about moving forward in the future?
Awesome, great question. So one of our biggest sites is at the Victory Reading Center, which is in Gilpin Court. So they have a program on in the afternoons there, I think in partnership with Hope. Maybe it's a church or some kind of Christian organization, and I'm not sure exactly what they are. But that is one of our biggest sites that we visit. Another organization that we kind of partner with is Feed More. So any site that Feed More delivers food to for the children at like a community center, they kind of give our information out to those directors to let them know about our program. And if they're interested, a lot of times we will even visit while the kids are eating their meal, their dinner before they go home. One of the biggest organizations that Feed More kind of sent to us was the Connect organization. And I think that, thank you, Cheryl, it is Hope Church, I believe, that runs, that helps to run that program at Victory Reading Center. Okay. And Hope Church has their own volunteers, and then Love of Learning sends in their own volunteers as well. So you could certainly volunteer for that site too. The Connect they are in there's a neighborhood called, or apartment complex, Henrico Arms. There's a Richfield Place, which is near like 301 and 95 in Henrico. There is one more in the name is slipping my mind, New something, and I apologize, I don't know that off the top of my head. But so most of our sites right now are in Henrico, and recently I have found out that is because Richmond City does a lot of partnering with the schools to provide after school programming. And we have tried to not distance ourselves from the schools, but not go into the schools like other organizations do. We've tried to kind of find other avenues that aren't being serviced by the school system to kind of close those gaps. The other thing is we're always looking for organizations or communities. So if you know of a community that has, an after school program, like within their little apartment complex, or, a place where children are gathering and they could benefit from this, you can certainly let us know. There is a Google form on our website too, that you could fill out for that. And I was just trying to see if I could pull this other document up really quick to find that answer for you. But does that answer some of your questions?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I had not heard about the organization previously. And I was intrigued when I saw the information regarding the webinar for today. I am a UVA alum, and so kind of connected all of that. And my background, I'm a retired school administrator. So I've taught
great.
in schools. So this is my second year of retirement. And so I've been looking for something at some point to connect with. I was previously in the Richmond Reading Council, VSRA as well. So, but yeah, definitely looking to kind of connect. And because years ago, I worked with the Reading Center in terms of working with adults who needed to learn how to read. So literacy is my thing. So
yay.
yeah,
Well, when
so,
you're ready, keep enjoying your retirement, but when you're ready, you can let us know.
Yeah, I would like to connect in some way because, as I said previously, I was involved with the Richmond Area Reading Council, and years ago they used to do something called Books for Babies, and we batched up books and took them to new moms and different things. So I'm excited to hear about the opportunity.
Yeah, we do have another program that's a good bit smaller than our Read Aloud program. It's called our book club, and that is where families, whether they're in our Read Aloud program or not, they can contact us and let us know who they are, or social services organizations a lot of times can refer families. And what we do is we allow the kids, every kid in the family each month selects like a book that they want, and we mail them a copy of a book. So we're trying to still like build their at-home libraries in that way.
Okay, so is this currently in operation, or is it on hiatus because of the COVID and the pandemic and everything?
It is still running, but we don't have as many families registered like as we do. Our Read Aloud program, we have 10 sites, and each site has 20 to 30 kids. So that is definitely a program that has been much more successful for us.
Okay.
And a lot of times that's because maybe the families don't know how to reach us or that we're even here, so that again is kind of like part of our mission, is really just letting everybody out there know what we're doing and who we are.
Right. Okay. That sounds great though. And it sounds like from what you were sharing, it was initially kind of connected through social services. Is that with Richmond City, Henrico, or other jurisdictions as well?
Yes, ma'am. We're in Richmond, Henrico, Chesterfield, and some parts of Hanover.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. I don't want to monopolize the question and answer period here, so I'm going to get quiet and let somebody else ask. But thank you.
Gwendolyn,
thank you
for your question. Appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I might pop in and ask my question.
Sure.
Christin, you mentioned that the organization was started in response to the literacy crisis in Richmond. And I was wondering if you wouldn't mind going more into detail about that, and kind of what prompted the founding of your group in response to that crisis.
Sure. So we were founded by a group of school teachers, and the majority of us taught in Hanover County for most of our lives, and at more affluent schools in more affluent neighborhoods. And so we would a lot of times go in, you're not a teacher for the money, obviously. And so a lot of times we would go in and teach, and it was great, but a lot of these kids were coming to school already knowing what they needed to know. So we were really just trying to think about like, what else could we be doing to help? Like there's a lot of people out there that still need some support. And again, not that kids are standardized, but just looking at the data that we're able to collect through like the standards of learning assessments. Richmond City in particular scored their third grade SOL scores. I think in 2018 was the last year we were able to record them. They were at like 48%. Don't quote me on that, but it's I think it was under 50%. And so one of the other big statistics in literacy is if you are not reading at grade level by third grade that you're much more likely to go into the prison system or into poverty or be on welfare, and not graduate college. So again, like those are all really big statistics that we just kind of looked and we were like, okay, there is like a huge need here. And then seeing that statistic of zero books in the home of 61 kids was just fascinating. So there was one other thing I was going to say and it slipped my mind. Did you have another question while I think about it?
Well, no, I mean, that all sounds super interesting, and just I definitely understand the link between low literacy rates and not having necessarily a bright future. So I think that makes a lot of sense. The other question I had was, what ages do you service? Is it K through 12 or is it just elementary?
Good question. So we do have the ability to service K through 12, but most of our read aloud sites have children K through 5 or K through 6. There might be a few that are through like middle school,
Okay.
but typically those high schoolers have other like after school programs that they're participating in, even like through the school system. And so I remembered what I was going to say. One of the other key missions for us is to involve the family members, right? So we're not just trying to get books in these kids' hands, but we're trying to help educate and inform their family members, whether it be their grandparent, whomever is raising them, whomever's in their communities, just really trying to get them to understand the importance of having their kids read. So I did pull up my statistics sheet. Books contain many words that children are unlikely to encounter frequently in spoken language. Books for kids actually contain 50% more words that children are unlikely to encounter frequently on regular television or radio. So just being like engrossed in a book and then getting another book, there's just so many benefits from that. And then there was one other statistic, let's see, that was very interesting to me, and I just wanted to share that too, which it involves how many words a child knows. So like a child from a low income family, by the time they're 5 years old, they might know, I don't know, 50 words. I'm just putting this out there. And so somebody from a more affluent family, they would know by 5 years old 1,000 words. I mean, it's like triple or double the amount of words. And a lot of that is because students in these lower income families, their families are prioritizing food and housing and, and work. And so reading just kind of gets pushed to the wayside for them.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for speaking more to that, Christin. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? I do want to talk about the book drive. So I'll just give another minute in case someone has a question. Want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to speak. All right, well, so like Christin said, there are ways to volunteer for Love of Learning. There is flyer volunteering. There is hosting a book drive, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about. And then you can become a read aloud teacher once that opens up. So probably would you say to follow your Facebook group or get on your mailing list to be updated on those read-alongs.
Yeah, just send me an email, let me know. Yep.
Perfect. So we are, to make it extra easy for UVA Club of Richmond members and beyond, we are going to host a book drive. So I will send everyone a follow-up email with Love of Learning's Amazon wish list. If you have an Amazon account, this is a super easy way to donate new books. And then if you maybe have a new book laying around your home for whatever reason, I will also include an address that you can drop it off to, and then I'll be responsible to take those books to Love of Learning's headquarters. So just look for that in the follow-up email, and if for whatever reason you don't receive that email, please feel free to reach out to me. And I can put my, I guess I can put my email in the chat. I don't, Michael, is there another way for them to access my email, like on our website or something?
It should be listed there, but the chat is also great, and we can pop it in the follow-up too.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and Lisa had a great question. Do our readers read mostly new books or classics like The K or Sounder? I will tell you that a lot of these children get super excited when they see characters in the story that they can reference, or that they can see themselves. You know, so if it's a Hispanic speaking student, they see maybe some Hispanic children in the story, or if it's an African American student, they see maybe some African American children in the story. Anything that has that opportunity is very successful. They also really love graphic novels. And it really encourages them to get into stories and read.
I think Kendra also has a question. Do you have any anecdotal success stories?
Yeah, so each year, excuse me, each year our site managers and our family members, we give out a survey like at the end of our program each year. And we're just asking them, you know, what is your child's engagement? Do they like to read now at home? There's several different criteria that we ask them. And every year we have built that successfully. So, you know, the first year was maybe at 30%. 30% of the kids grew in, you know, 7 of those growth measures. And every year it has grown into within so of course, before March 2020, we had literally just opened a brand new site the Friday that the governor was like, everything's closed. And so we were really like picking up steam and really building this program into something really amazing, and had to kind of hit pause. So at that time in March 2020, we were seeing at least 100%, we were seeing 70% of kids meeting all 10 of those measurable factors that we're using. And again, that's like interest in reading, better performance in school, reading independently. Those are just some examples of those different measures.
Okay, great. And we do have another question from Teresa. When do the readers do this reading? She's a working librarian, so she wouldn't be able to read during working hours.
Yeah, great
That's a
question.
good question.
So all of our sites actually, sometimes we're at daycares, and they prefer, like where we're meeting with like 2-year-olds or preschoolers, and they prefer us to come in the morning. But there's also sites, like I said, who have after school programs, and they like us to come, you know, between 4 and 6. So it really just depends on the site. We really try to work with those site directors and find the very best time that works for them, and then the frequency. There's some sites have their own types of programming, and they can't have us due to their own programming as frequently. So it just kind of depends. And so Teresa, to speak a little bit more to that, we would just basically what happens is you express interest in wanting to be a Read Aloud volunteer. And once you do that, we would send you a list of all of the current sites that we need volunteers at, right? Because again, we're trying to keep those teams of volunteers around 4 or 5. So there's not any pressure if you need to miss a week. You know, we all have emergencies. And so we just kind of have an ongoing list of sites that we're still trying to add volunteers to. So you would let me know what site works best for you. Once we have all that kind of squared away, we'll send you a link to a background check. And we do ask all of our volunteers to have a background check. And then we would, get you set up and trained and ready to kind of jump in with your volunteer team. What are you referring to as Edgar Allan Poe? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yes, Teresa, the librarian says yes. So the other thought to keep in mind too, as you're selecting books, is that the majority of these readers are reading at least one grade level below, if not 2 grade levels below. So when we say we're working with kids, K through 5, we're really working with kids preschool through 4th grade. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're selecting books. And if you have questions about titles of books or anything as you guys are going through your book drive, please reach out and let me know. I'm happy to, give you guys more information or guidance or send you in the right direction. So.
And again, your Amazon wish list should have like a list of already approved books that are in high demand.
Yes. So the benefit of using the Amazon wish list is we, as the team of volunteers, add books that either are requested by our readers or that we just know are really popular. And so those books are the ones that are listed there on Amazon. And once you click and order and pay, it will ship directly to our headquarters. Yep. And it'll have hopefully sign your name, because we'll send you a thank you. And you can add in the little comment that it's for the UVA book drive, so we can maybe count up all our books, Ashlyn, and have a big celebration at the end.
That's a great idea. I would love to do that. All right, are there any more questions? And as always, if you guys have a question, maybe an hour from now, and you're just thinking about it, feel free to email Christin or myself. I'm happy to forward your email to her. And then also just stay tuned for the follow-up email with the Amazon wish list and the book drop-off location. But Christin, thank you so much for joining us, and it's so great to hear about your organization and the good that you all are doing. So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everyone. Well, again, thanks for joining. If you have any questions about the UVA Club of Richmond, getting involved, always, always don't hesitate to contact us. So thank you so much for joining.